Dragon's Dogma 2 is one of the most anticipated games of 2024, and there's a multitude of different reasons as to why that is, but I think one of the biggest reasons is their class system, which are called Vocations, and their most recently revealed vocation is even more exciting than all of the other vocations. And this newest vocation called Warfarer is so exciting because it seems to be the first vocation in this new tier or category of vocation, because in Dragon's Dogma 2, it seems that there are different tiers of vocations or different categories that all of these different vocations are split into. So we have the first four starter vocations, which are Mage, Thief, Archer, and Fighter, and those have the least intricate border around their class symbol. Then we have advanced vocations and hybrid vocations. So we have the Warrior and Sorcerer, which are advanced vocations, basically upgraded versions of some of the starter vocations. And then we have hybrid vocations, which are basically mixes of some of the starter vocations, so something like the Magic Archer and the Mystic Spearhand. We also have the Trickster, which is a hybrid vocation, but it doesn't seem to be a hybrid of any of the starter vocations, but it's still in the same category with the advanced and hybrid vocations. But then we have the Warfarer, and this seems to be in its own category of vocations, which also seems to be shown by its border. As mentioned, the starter vocations don't have a very intricate border. The next tier, which are the advanced and hybrid, have a more intricate border, but then you get up to the Warfare and it's a much more intricate border and it's fully gold compared to all of the other vocations. So just going off how they're trying to distinguish Warfare from the other vocations, it seems pretty interesting, but once you get into the actual information of the Warfare, it gets even much more exciting. And even the explanation for this vocation makes it one of the most highly anticipated parts of the game. The Warfare is a new vocation exclusive to the Arisen that can use every weapon and learn different skills from each vocation. By using diverse weapons, the Warfarer can respond to any situation and create combos that cross vocational boundaries. The Warfarer's lower base stats require them to utilize the situational strength of different weapon types to be on par with other vocations with specialized strengths. So the Warfarer is basically a jack of all trades that can use pieces, abilities, and weapons from every other vocation in the game. Now, it does seem like there are some limits to this, because as this is being shown off on the website or in footage, it seems like this vocation is going to be split into only being able to use a certain amount of weapons at a time. So you'll see one person using daggers, a big two-handed mace, and a spear, or you'll see somebody else using dual swords, a big axe, and a bow. So it's seeming like you can only use 3 weapons at a time with the Warfare and switch between those 3 different specific vocations at that one time. And then maybe if you want to switch to a different set, you'd have to switch maybe out of combat or potentially in some other way. But as mentioned, this vocation is going to have lower stats than all of the other vocations, meaning you actually have to use your different weapons in combination with each other to actually make this vocation even as strong as the other vocations, and you'll probably have to be very good to potentially make this vocation even stronger than the others. But this is also the most exciting part about this vocation, because even shown in some of the footage, you can do some pretty crazy stuff. One of the coolest things shown is someone wearing a full set of wizard robes with a big wizard hat, spawning a massive piece of ice in front of them, then jumping off that piece of ice they just created with one weapon and switching to a big two-handed sword to get a massive hit on the enemy. And I do think this vocation is probably going to be much harder to play than the others, but it's also going to allow you to do some crazy stuff that nothing else in the game will allow you to do. And that's one of the reasons why it's so exciting. This just adds so much possibilities and variations just using this one vocation, because you basically get to get a feel of every other vocation in the game just using this one vocation, and you get to mix and match them in ways you can't do anywhere else. Now, the Warfare is super exciting because of its base combat possibilities, but the way you're actually going to obtain the Warfare and other vocations makes it even more interesting, because in Dragon's Dogma 2, the main way you're going to go about unlocking new vocations past the starter vocations is you're going to have to be taught this by maesters out in the world, which are basically vocation masters that are going to be able to teach you new vocation abilities and even just whole new vocations. So maybe you have to meet this specific person, maybe you have to do multiple quest lines with them and basically increase your reputation or rapport with them, and then at some point they'll teach you a new vocation. And it seems there's going to be a bunch of meisters for all of the more advanced and hybrid vocations, but I don't think we know who's specifically going to be teaching you the Warfarer Vocation. But my theory on this is you're probably going to have to go progress through a ton of these different Meisters and unlock most, if not all, of the previous vocations to actually get to the Warfarer, because the Warfarer is obviously mixing all of these different elements from all the other vocations. So it would make complete sense that you have to basically master all or most of the other vocations to be able to actually learn to become a Warfarer. And there'll probably be some NPC that we probably won't know about until the game is actually out that actually teaches you this once you've progressed through all the other vocations enough. And just the story potential and the progression to get to that point is going to be pretty important and pretty impactful, but it can also just give you this massive reward for completing all of these other elements of the game, getting all the other vocations, and then you kind of get this big reward at the end where now you're a Warfarer that can just mix and match any other vocations you want. So I think the inclusion of this Warfarer vocation makes Dragon's Dogma 2 even more exciting and interesting. Having this thing that almost seems like much more of endgame progression that unlocks almost a completely different way to partake in combat is something that I think a lot of players are going to enjoy. But that's pretty much all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.